February 22, 2026. In the quiet hills near Tapalpa, a single military raid shattered the night and unleashed chaos across Jalisco within minutes. As blockades, arson, and bomb attacks erupted, official reports blamed a deadly cartel retaliation. But one question still haunts every headline. How did one covert operation ignite a crisis that left an entire region paralyzed? The answer begins with a name the CJNG cartel feared most. At 22:15 on February 22, 2026, Mexican Army Special Forces and National Guard units converged on a remote property outside Tapalpa, Jalisco. Intelligence had tracked Nemesio Ruben Oseguera Cervantes, known as El Mencho, to the site after monitoring the movements of a close associate. Surveillance confirmed a small but heavily armed security detail, including rocket launchers and assault rifles, stationed around the cabin. As the team moved in, gunfire broke out. 8 cartel gunmen were killed in the initial exchange. 2 soldiers were wounded. El Mencho and 2 of his closest bodyguards broke from cover, fleeing into dense brush. Soldiers followed, triggering a second firefight among the trees. All 3 cartel members were hit. Military medics stabilized them and called for a helicopter evacuation. The medevac lifted off for Morelia, but the wounds proved fatal during the flight. Official statements from the Mexican Defense Secretariat confirmed the target died en route, saying only that a high-priority objective was neutralized during a night raid in the Tapalpa area. No mention of foreign air support, precision strikes, or U.S. involvement appeared in any formal communique. The compound yielded an arsenal of automatic weapons, grenades, and heavy arms that were later displayed at a press briefing. By midnight, word of the raid had already begun to spread through cartel channels. Within hours, authorities reported the first signs of coordinated retaliation across Jalisco. But in Tapalpa, the operation's outcome was clear. The man at the top of the CJNG had been removed, and the region braced for the consequences. Within the first hour after the Tapalpa raid, daily life across Jalisco began to unravel. At 10:38 in the evening, a major road in Zapopan was blocked by burning buses, trapping dozens of commuters and forcing emergency crews to reroute traffic through residential neighborhoods. City bulletins documented the closure of key intersections as municipal responders scrambled to clear debris and restore access for ambulances. In Tlajomulco, a fire tore through the central market just before midnight, destroying more than 200 vendor stalls and wiping out an estimated $150,000 in goods and cash. Vendors who depended on daily sales found their livelihoods erased in a matter of minutes. Hospitals and clinics were not spared. In San Juan de los Lagos, a drone-delivered incendiary device set the local 24-hour clinic ablaze, forcing medical staff to evacuate patients into the street. Transfer logs from the state health department show at least 5 patients with chronic conditions rerouted to a facility 30 kilometers away in Tonala. For families waiting outside, the night stretched into a tense vigil, uncertain if care would arrive in time. Throughout Guadalajara's metropolitan area, emergency hotlines were overwhelmed. Operators fielded reports of gunfire, blocked roads, and burning vehicles from at least 7 municipalities. By dawn, the Jalisco state government had opened temporary shelters in local schools for over 1,000 residents displaced by the violence. The first responders who worked through the night described a city under siege, with each new bulletin adding to a growing sense of chaos. No one could predict how long the disruption would last or how far the violence would reach. José Gutiérrez, widely known as El Tuli, was born in 1987 in Tepatitlan, Jalisco. His entry into organized crime started in the early 2000s, running small shipments for a local cell before aligning with the Jalisco New Generation Cartel as it expanded in 2009. By 2018, intercepted police communications and court filings show he had risen to Jefe de Operaciones del Norte, placing him in charge of logistics, arms procurement, and the coordination of violent reprisals against rivals. Intelligence summaries described him as the right hand of El Mencho, trusted to oversee the cartel's northern strongholds and enforce discipline with ruthless efficiency. In the hours after the raid that killed El Mencho, Mexican authorities decrypted a series of encrypted messages sent from a device registered to Gutiérrez. At 2:45 a.m. on February 22nd, one directive ordered lieutenants to deploy improvised explosive devices on police convoys and ignite blockades at key intersections in Zapopan and Tlajomulco. The timing matches the first reported bombings and arson attacks that night. Congressional hearings later referenced these messages, linking El Tuli directly to the wave of violence that paralyzed Jalisco. His orders were precise: target emergency routes, disrupt medical transfers, and maximize chaos to overwhelm security forces. The technical trail left by these intercepted communications became the backbone of the case against him. Intelligence analysts used metadata and location pings to reconstruct his movements, confirming that command decisions flowed from El Tuli's encrypted device as the violence spread. The pattern of coordination and the rapidity of response left little doubt about his operational control. This evidence would soon justify the deployment of military force against him, setting the stage for the next decisive action. At 2:30 in the morning on February 26, the 3rd Infantry Brigade's 2nd Battalion advanced along a dirt track outside Tonala. Intelligence had pinpointed a farmhouse on the outskirts where José Gutiérrez, known as El Tuli, was believed to be directing the CJNG's escalating campaign. Armored support rolled in behind the lead platoons, including a cavalry squadron with tracked vehicles positioned to cut off any escape. The brigade's after-action report details a methodical approach. Perimeter teams fanned out to secure the property, while a loudspeaker broadcast a final order to surrender. Inside, El Tuli and 3 armed men opened fire with automatic rifles and a grenade launcher. The response was swift. Rifle squads returned fire, suppressing the defenders and breaching the north entrance. The firefight lasted less than 8 minutes. When the shooting stopped, soldiers found El Tuli and his bodyguards downed near the rear doors, weapons still in hand. No soldiers were killed. Among the items seized were assault rifles, 2 machine guns, a crate of fragmentation grenades, and nearly $1.4 million in various currencies. The operation also recovered encrypted phones and a laptop containing what military analysts later described as operational directives for the previous week's violence. By sunrise, the Army's armored vehicles stood guard over a scene that signaled the end of the manhunt. The official communiqué listed the outcome in stark terms: leadership neutralized, command assets seized, and the last link in the chain of CJNG retaliation broken in the dark outside Tonala. Neither the United States Department of Defense nor Mexico's Secretariat of National Defense issued any statement mentioning United States fighter jets, airstrikes, or joint aerial support in the Tapalpa operation. The official communiques, released within hours of the raid, describe a ground assault, a firefight, and the death of the target during helicopter evacuation. No reference appears to F-15 involvement, precision-guided munitions, or foreign pilots. Aviation records tell a similar story. Open Sky Network's ADSB logs for February 22, 2026, covering the relevant hours over Tapalpa, show no commercial or military aircraft matching F-15 transponder codes in Mexican airspace. Civilian receivers captured only routine traffic, cargo flights, regional jets, and a handful of registered helicopters. While classified military flights can operate with transponders disabled, the absence of any F-15 readings in open-source flight data leaves no evidence of United States fighter activity at the scene. Official silence and flight logs together narrow the probability of a foreign airstrike to almost zero, barring proof withheld from public record. No public forensic report has ever detailed high explosive fragments or missile signatures from the Tapalpa raid. The absence of a blast site analysis leaves a crucial gap, one that would normally confirm or rule out the use of air-dropped munitions. Meanwhile, social media videos claiming to show an F-15 strike quickly fall apart under scrutiny. Frame-by-frame inspection reveals mismatched audio and a heads-up display overlay that does not match any known U.S. military format. Metadata from these clips points to compilation from unrelated sources with timestamps and geolocation data that cannot be verified. Without a credible chain of evidence, no bomb residue, no authentic flight video, no official acknowledgement, the claim of a foreign airstrike collapses. What remains is a case study in how misinformation spreads when forensic and technical gaps are filled by speculation, not facts. Cartel violence adapts faster than policy or rumor. As power shifts, Mexican communities remain on edge, caught between fact and fear, truth and speculation. Until real security replaces headlines, the struggle isn't just tactical. It's about who controls the narrative on both sides of the border.
The Mexican cartels have crossed a line. After years of smuggling, violence, and brazen attacks, one bold move has drawn America's full attention. Elite military units, armed drones, and advanced surveillance systems are now tracking every step of the cartel's operation. This isn't a warning, it's the start of a crackdown that could dismantle entire networks. The question is, can the cartels survive this level of pressure? How far will U.S. forces go to stop them? Join us as we uncover how America is striking back against the cartel's most daring moves yet. On October 17, 2019, Mexican Special Forces launched a targeted operation in Culiacan's affluent Tres Rios district to apprehend Ovidio Guzman, the son of the infamous drug lord Joaquin El Chapo Guzman. The elite GAF unit, skilled in precision tactical strikes, swiftly breached the safe house, subduing guards and detaining Ovidio within minutes. This operation represented a significant opportunity to weaken the Sinaloa cartel by removing one of its emerging leaders. However, the situation rapidly escalated beyond expectations. As the special forces secured their target, encrypted communications activated a rapid mobilization of cartel operatives. Within half an hour, over 700 armed sicarios flooded the streets of Culiacan, equipped with heavy weaponry, including .50 caliber machine guns, rocket-propelled grenades, and improvised armored vehicles designed to withstand sustained fire. This was a highly coordinated force, executing tactical maneuvers with military-grade precision. The cartel quickly established roadblocks using burning buses, effectively severing major transport routes. Intense gunfire erupted from elevated positions, while thick smoke darkened the skyline, transforming the city into a chaotic war zone. What began as a targeted arrest evolved into a prolonged 7-hour urban battle, paralyzing Culiacan. The cartel's counteroffensive was methodical and relentless. Armored trucks rammed police vehicles, hindering reinforcements, while well-coordinated assaults overwhelmed military checkpoints with concentrated gunfire and explosives. Civilians sought shelter or fled, leaving deserted streets clogged with abandoned cars. Reports highlighted the cartel's extensive network of informants and lookouts embedded within the city, enabling rapid tactical responses and effectively outmaneuvering government forces. By late afternoon, the Special Forces team holding Ovidio was encircled within the safe house, trapped by an overwhelming cartel presence. The government's operation had collapsed, with mounting risks making continued resistance untenable. The battle in Culiacan revealed a shocking reality. The Sinaloa cartel had evolved into a well-armed, disciplined paramilitary entity capable of challenging state authority in urban warfare. This violent encounter, later known as the Culiacanazo, shocked experts and citizens worldwide. The cartel's rapid deployment of hundreds of armed fighters within an hour revealed an organizational capacity comparable to a small military force. Intelligence reports estimated that the Sinaloa cartel mobilized over 150 vehicles, coordinating attacks across multiple neighborhoods to overwhelm the city's defenses. As the battle dragged on, Mexico's leadership faced a dire predicament. The Special Forces team holding Ovidio Guzman became increasingly isolated, with limited options for reinforcement or retreat. The government's response would soon reveal the fragile balance between maintaining order and preserving lives. In a decisive and controversial move, President Andrés Manuel López Obrador ordered the release of Ovidio Guzman just hours after his capture. This decision came amid escalating threats from the cartel, which had seized at least 8 soldiers hostage, stormed military housing compounds, and vowed to execute captives if their leader was not freed. The Sinaloa cartel's tactics were both bold and calculated. By surrounding army barracks and erecting roadblocks with burning vehicles, they effectively immobilized security forces and leveraged hostages as bargaining chips. Authorities, overwhelmed and facing the prospect of widespread bloodshed, conceded to the cartel's demands. Public outrage intensified as images circulated of burning streets and frightened residents, with many questioning how a single criminal organization could effectively hold an entire city hostage. Internationally, the incident drew intense criticism, particularly from the United States. American officials, alarmed by the ongoing influx of fentanyl and methamphetamine across the border, viewed the release as a failure of Mexico's commitment to combating organized crime. According to 2021 DEA data, the Sinaloa cartel was responsible for 98% of fentanyl entering the U.S., a drug linked to thousands of overdose deaths. The Culiacanazo intensified demands for stronger bilateral cooperation, with U.S. lawmakers advocating for sanctions and joint security operations. The surrender revealed critical weaknesses in Mexico's security framework. It demonstrated how a heavily armed cartel could exploit government reluctance to escalate violence. Although the decision to free Ovidio Guzman saved lives in the short term, it established a troubling precedent, raising questions about how a single figure could exert such influence over national security. Alongside his brothers known as Los Chapitos, he took control of the organization following their father's 2017 extradition to the United States. Ovidio managed critical aspects such as finance, logistics, and technological innovation. He oversaw millions of dollars in drug proceeds, carefully routing funds through complex networks of hidden accounts and trusted couriers. His supervision ensured that cocaine, methamphetamine, and fentanyl moved efficiently across international borders. By 1929, at just 28 years old, Ovidio had become a vital pillar of the cartel's power structure. His integration of modern technology with ruthless operational tactics distinguished him as a new generation of cartel leadership. Technology was a key advantage for Ovidio. He equipped the cartel with phantom secure phones, encrypted communication devices designed to evade detection by law enforcement and rival groups. These modified phones allowed secure coordination of shipments and tactical maneuvers. Additionally, the cartel operated private radio networks on secure frequencies, adding a further layer of protection. During the 1919 Culiacanazo, these systems enabled sicarios to jam government communications, severely disrupting military command and control. Ovidio also championed digital tools such as encrypted applications to monitor drug routes and manage financial transactions. This technological edge turned the cartel into a sophisticated criminal enterprise capable of outmaneuvering surveillance efforts. Beyond technological innovation, Ovidio built a disciplined fighting force. He recruited young men from Sinaloa's poorest communities, offering financial incentives and status. These recruits, often teenagers or in their early 20s, received training to operate advanced weaponry, including assault rifles and grenade launchers, forming an effective paramilitary unit under his command. Unlike the violent street gangs of previous decades, Ovidio Guzman's sicarios operated with discipline and organization, structured into units capable of executing coordinated and complex assaults. In Culiacan, their rapid deployment demonstrated a level of military precision rarely seen in criminal groups. Equipped with modern weapons and supported by an extensive network of informants, these fighters provided the cartel with the strength to confront Mexican military forces directly. His financial operations laundered profits through small businesses and cash transfers, obscuring the cartel's true wealth. In many Sinaloa communities, the cartel was perceived as a provider of employment and security, filling governance voids left by an ineffective state. This local support complicated intelligence gathering, as residents often regarded Ovidio's group as a necessary authority. His blend of criminal power and community influence created a quasi-governmental presence that directly challenged Mexico's sovereignty. Ovidio's rise attracted intense attention from U.S. law enforcement due to his pivotal role in trafficking fentanyl, a drug linked to over 80,000 overdose deaths in 2021, according to DEA reports. His operational scale and technological sophistication elevated him to a high-value target. As pressure intensified from across the border, authorities recognized that capturing Ovidio would require sustained, coordinated efforts beyond a single raid. The United States is prepared to push Mexico for a more assertive response, setting the stage for a new phase in the battle against the Sinaloa cartel. When Andrés Manuel López Obrador assumed Mexico's presidency in 2018, he introduced a policy shift aimed at reducing violence through social initiatives rather than military confrontation. His hugs not bullets approach, abrazos no balazos, focused on addressing the root causes of crime by offering education, jobs, and community programs to vulnerable populations. Previous administrations had relied heavily on aggressive military raids and mass arrests, often resulting in bloody confrontations and significant civilian casualties. López Obrador argued that entrenched poverty and a lack of economic opportunity drove many young people into the arms of criminal organizations. His government invested heavily in social programs aimed at youth training and rural development, with the hope of shrinking the cartel's recruitment base. By 2019, initiatives such as Youth Building the Future provided stipends and job training to vulnerable young adults, offering alternatives to the quick but dangerous income promised by groups like the Sinaloa cartel. However, the absence of sustained military pressure created a security vacuum that cartels exploited. While well-intentioned, this strategy inadvertently allowed the Sinaloa cartel under Ovidio Guzman to strengthen its control over key territories, expand smuggling routes, and enhance its military capabilities. The events of October 17, 2019, in Culiacan exposed the limitations of the president's approach. Analysts argued that while the social reform goals were commendable, they failed to address the immediate and growing threat posed by powerful organizations like the Sinaloa cartel. Recognizing the sophistication of Ovidio Guzman's network and the discipline of his armed forces, the United States finally stepped in, determined to prevent a repeat of the 2019 debacle. However, Ovidio's confidence proved misplaced. On January 5, 2023, authorities arrested Guzman Lopez in Culiacan's Jesus Maria district. This operation, known as Operation Mongoose Azteca, was the result of extensive intelligence sharing and coordination between Mexican and U.S. military forces. For months, U.S. intelligence intercepted cartel communications, enabling Mexican authorities to track Ovidio's movements with precision. Eyewitnesses reported that Guzman had attended a family gathering the night before his capture. In a pre-dawn raid, a combined force deployed helicopters and a convoy of ground vehicles to breach his residence. Within 10 hours, Guzman Lopez was in custody. Defense Secretary Luis Crescencio Sandoval later confirmed the arrest, stating that personnel from the Mexican Army, National Guard, Secretariat of National Defense, and Navy participated in the operation. After the successful capture, Guzman was transported securely to Mexico City, where he was presented before the Attorney General's office specializing in organized crime. Later that same day, the Mexican Air Force flew Guzman to the Federal Social Readaptation Center, No. 1, known as Altiplano, a maximum security prison in Almoloya de Juarez. The operation also led to the detention of 17 suspected cartel members. In a subsequent press briefing, Foreign Secretary Marcelo Ebrard confirmed an existing extradition request from the United States. He noted, however, that Guzman faced multiple criminal charges within Mexico. A federal judge ordered a 60-day preventive detention to allow U.S. authorities to formally petition for extradition. Following the arrest, unrest erupted across Sinaloa and neighboring Sonora. The U.S. consulate in Hermosillo reported gunfire, roadblocks, and fires in Culiacan, Los Mochis, and Guasave. The Department of State issued its highest travel advisory warning against travel to the region. Sinaloa Governor Ruben Rocha Moya urged residents to shelter in place amid escalating violence. The turmoil forced the closure of Culiacan International Airport after gunfire struck two planes, a commercial Aeromexico flight and a military aircraft. Shootouts were reported directly on the runway. Aeromexico diverted additional flights away from the international airports in Los Mochis and Mazatlan. Similar attacks on trucks along Highway 15 in Sonora led the airline to cancel flights at Ciudad Obregón International Airport. Normal airport operations resumed by the morning of January 6th. Reports of looting surfaced in parts of Culiacan, while numerous businesses and banks temporarily closed statewide. Journalists covering the unrest documented multiple carjackings, with armed groups demanding vehicle keys from drivers. During the unrest, violence claimed the lives of 10 soldiers, 19 cartel members, and 1 police officer. Among the fallen was an infantry colonel and his 4 escorts, who were ambushed and killed by cartel operatives in Escuinapa, Sinaloa. According to a report from Mexico's Secretariat of National Defense, the operation deployed approximately 3,586 soldiers. The military seized significant weaponry and equipment, including 4.50 caliber Barrett rifles, 6.50 caliber machine guns, 26 long guns, 2 handguns, multiple magazines and cartridges, tactical gear, and 13 operational vehicles. Following Guzman Lopez's capture, the U.S. Office of Foreign Assets Control imposed sanctions under Executive Order 14059 targeting individuals and companies within the Sinaloa cartel's supply network. These sanctions focused on entities involved in providing precursor chemicals essential for the large-scale production of methamphetamine and fentanyl in so-called super laboratories, defined by OFAC as facilities producing 10 or more pounds of illicit drugs per production cycle. Notably, Luis Gerardo Flores Madrid, identified as a subordinate of Guzman Lopez, was among those sanctioned. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken described these sanctions as part of a comprehensive government effort aimed at disrupting and dismantling transnational criminal organizations that facilitate the illicit trafficking of fentanyl and other narcotics. By February 28, 2023, reports from CBS News, Agence France Presse, and Reuters cited unnamed Mexican government sources confirming that the United States had formally requested Guzman Lopez's extradition. 7 months later, Mexico extradited Guzman Lopez to the United States to face drug trafficking charges. U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland described the extradition as the latest milestone in the Justice Department's campaign to dismantle all facets of the cartel's operations. On July 23, 2024, just 2 days before the arrests of Ismael El Mayo Zambada and Ovidio's brother Joaquin Guzman Lopez, Bureau of Prisons records indicated Guzman Lopez had been released. However, the Department of Justice confirmed he remained in custody. During a hearing on October 21st, it was revealed that Guzman and his brother were negotiating plea agreements and would share legal representation. Their next court appearance was scheduled for January 7, 2025. In May, 17 family members of the brothers were escorted into the United States under American authorities' supervision. On July 11, Ovidio Guzman pleaded guilty in Chicago's Dirksen Federal Building to 2 counts of drug distribution and 2 counts of participating in a continuing criminal enterprise. Sentencing details remain confidential as Guzman is cooperating with U.S. officials, providing information in hopes of avoiding a life sentence. Meanwhile, the Mexican government, under President Claudia Sheinbaum, criticized the lack of coordination between the 2 countries, arguing that the arrests of Ovidio's brother in Zambada had sparked internal conflicts among criminal factions. Jeffrey Lichtman, Ovidio's attorney, referenced the 2021 release of General Salvador Cienfuegos, an ex-official accused of protecting organized crime, who was extradited to Mexico at its request and later cleared of charges, highlighting the complexities of Mexico-U.S. cooperation in the drug war. After years of relentless cartel smuggling and seeing just how powerful the cartels are becoming, the United States formally designated 8 major Mexican cartels as foreign terrorist organizations in early 2025. This move unlocked new counterterrorism authorities for the U.S. military, particularly the Navy and Air Force, and signaled a shift toward treating cartel operations as a direct national security threat. Around the same period, Mexico's Senate approved a joint training mission pairing the U.S. Army's 7th Special Forces Group with Mexico's elite Naval Marine Corps. While officially described as a cooperative initiative, multiple defense officials confirmed that coordination between the 2 militaries had already been quietly intensifying months earlier. Since then, U.S. and Mexican agencies have acknowledged at least 18 joint or U.S.-only surveillance flights deep into Mexican territory. Among the platforms deployed, none has drawn more attention than the MQ-9 Reaper, America's primary armed reconnaissance drone. Capable of carrying Hellfire missiles and the infamous non-explosive Ninja bomb, the Reaper can loiter for up to 40 hours, track targets with laser precision, and even read a license plate from miles away. Under expanded intelligence sharing agreements, the DEA now has limited access to CIA-operated drones to locate hidden drug labs in remote mountains and jungles. These missions began under the previous U.S. administration, but have sharply increased in frequency and scope. The operational push isn't confined to the air. By spring 2025, approximately 2,000 U.S. military personnel, including over 140 intelligence specialists from the CIA, NSA, and military intelligence units, had been deployed along the southern border. Naval power has been brought into the mix as well. The USS Gravely, a destroyer armed with Tomahawk cruise missiles, now patrols the Gulf Coast to support Border Patrol and the Coast Guard. On land, border infrastructure has been upgraded with 30-foot steel bollard barriers, anti-climb designs, and integrated motion sensors and cameras feeding real-time alerts to the Air National Guard. Airmen and drones respond instantly to sensor triggers, giving law enforcement precise intercept capability. This blend of human presence and technology has cut daily illegal border crossings dramatically compared to previous years, with significant disruptions to cartel smuggling routes. The aerial surveillance fleet has also expanded beyond the Reaper. The legendary U-2 spy plane, still unmatched at 70,000 feet, is mapping cartel compounds and smuggling corridors with ultra-long-range cameras. The Navy's P-8 Poseidon, designed for maritime patrols, now sweeps the Baja Peninsula and Pacific routes favored for cocaine and fentanyl shipments. The RC-135 Rivet Joint, packed with signal intelligence gear, is intercepting cartel communications, pinpointing leadership hideouts, and feeding location data into joint targeting databases. Behind closed doors, U.S. defense planners have debated a controversial next step: direct precision strikes against high-value cartel targets inside Mexico. Proposed missions would involve drones, bombers, and special forces to destroy drug labs, warehouses, and command centers. While Mexico's government has been briefed, officials in both countries admit the discussions are tense, with Washington signaling it could act unilaterally if diplomatic agreements stall. The Pentagon has already positioned one of its most feared strategic assets, the B-2 Spirit stealth bomber, for potential contingency missions. Invisible to most radar, capable of flying thousands of miles without refueling, and able to deliver up to 40,000 pounds of precision munitions, the B-2 offers unmatched reach and surprise. If deployed, it could penetrate deep into cartel strongholds, destroy fortified underground bunkers, and vanish before any response is possible. Its integration with Navy E-2D Hawkeye radar aircraft, satellite feeds, and the Link 16 tactical network ensures real-time situational awareness during missions. And with bunker-busting JDAMS in its arsenal, the bomber could neutralize even the most hardened narco facilities. For now, these capabilities remain in the planning and deterrence phase. But U.S. military and intelligence officials stress that if cartel violence